So welcome to today's video, and we're going to be looking at how to make a clock, basically a small clock program using Scratch. And the clock program is gonna have a timer feature, a stopwatch feature, and the current date and time because it's a clock, of course. So first, let's look at the timer first. So first, we're gonna get a sprite, which is gonna be the timer button. So when you click it, the time, and it'll ask you how much time do you want the timer to be, how long do you want it to be, and then it'll go down by 1 every second. But for that, we need a button. So let's just do that. Okay, so now we have a timer sprite which was painted using the paint feature. So now we want two variables, one for the time in minutes and one for the time left, like for the second part, because if there's 5 minutes, then there'll be like 4:59, 4:58, 4:57. So make two new variables, which will be time in second and time in minutes. So basically, we don't want it to be like this because it's not really user friendly. It's hard to understand. We want you to look at it at a glance. So you can do large readout. And we put it like this. So click them down here, and that'll be like that, and that'll be that, and you'll know which one is the minute, which one is the second, because it's obviously in front, and then you can see the outline between two different boxes. You can see the difference between two different boxes. So now let's code this. Basically, what you want to do is when you click on the sprite, you want the user to be asked a question. Basically, how long do the timer to be, and then with their answer, you want to set that the minutes part into here, the second part into here, and then you want it to go down by, and you want this one to go down by 1 second each time, and every time this one reaches 0, this one to go down by 1. So now let's code that. Okay, so this is the code that we need to make the entire timer function work. So basically, in a quick explanation, what this does is when you flip the sprite, it first sets both the clocks to 0, and then it asks you how long the timer will be. And you know how when you set 5 minutes, the clock shows 4:59 because it starts counting down. So this is why this answer -1. So if you put 5 minutes, it would be 4, and the time in seconds would be 59. And then you keep repeating this until the time in minutes is 0 and the time in seconds is 0. Until they're both 0, you keep repeating this. Wait 1 second, and then you change the time in seconds by -1. And then you have to check if the time in seconds is equal to 0, because if it's gone through 59 and it's kept reducing by 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and it's gone to 0, then you quickly check if the time in minutes is 0, because it could be the end of the whole timer as well. And if it is, then you play the sound alert and you stop, and then you stop everything. The alert sounds like the timer, like the sound at the end. And then, but if it's not the end of the timer, like if it's only been 1 minute and the timer was for 5 minutes, you change the time in minutes by -1. So now if it was at 4:59 and went down to 4 to 4, and now it's 3, and you set the time seconds back 59, and it continues the loop. It's basically it. You can pause the video and look at it and look through the code and understand it if you want. So now let's work on a stopwatch. The stopwatch we'll need another button, and we'll have to write code for that too. So first let's make the button. So now you've drawn the sprite for stopwatch. Now you have to code it. So basically, for stopwatch, it's going to be much simpler when you click the sprite, because there's no changing the time. You just keep counting up until the person stops. So first you click the sprite, and then there's a variable called time, just time passed, something like that. And you have to show that variable down here, and you can make that large as well, because if they click it and this one starts going up, they know what's happening. Oh yeah, one thing quickly, you have to make sure that this one is that you put the time in minutes before the time in seconds, or else it will not make sense. It won't make sense. And then, so then back to here. What you have to do is as long as I write to start it, it just starts counting up. That's basically all I have to do. So let's do that. This is pretty much the code for stopwatch. You just click it. And that's it. And in order to stop it, we can also add a stop button that can also stop the timer if you want. So this is basically a stop button, and for this one, it's pretty easy. Just one sprite clicks to stop everything. So that's basically what it says stop all. It just says stop. That's it. So if I click stopwatch, we should also set stopwatch to 0 every time we start, because or else we'll just keep the same number counting off from there. So I think we sets time to 0. Start this. I'm gonna say click stop. Let's see that. So you can know what time is there. So now there's one last feature of a clock, which should tell you the date and the time. And for that, there's a very simple feature that does that right here. It's called current day of current, and there's a drop-down menu of year, month, date. We don't need day of week because nobody cares about that. Nobody uses that on a clock. You could always add it, but I'm just gonna do year, month, date, hour, minute, second, and I'll show you what that looks like when I'm done. Also, basically what you do is you have to tick it. You have to tick it. Current year will be shown, and then you switch to month. You have to untick it and tick again so you can see it. So this is basically in MMDDYY format, month, date, year. This is in 24-hour clock, so that's what that Scratch has. Thank you for watching this video, and that's it for today.